Happy Earth Day, y'all. Y'all, I'm coming on. It's in the early evening hours. And I was just sitting here thinking about something. It's kind of in relation to the whole soft life, feminine life, and all that stuff. And what I wanted to share is this, my POV. Okay, so being a so-called American citizen and being a woman in so-called modern times, there's this energy that unfortunately, in a lot of cases and situations, femininity is not something that usually is supported. We have to masculinely fight our space for femininity. And I am not what they call a feminist or none of that nonsense by any means. Not knocking, but just saying that ain't me. Now, something that I'm observing is when I travel to these other countries and I want to take the toxic machismo element out of it for a second, and I just really observe the women in those countries, their femininity doesn't have to be fought to have and or maintain. It's actually supported. Now, after that, that's when the toxicity comes in. But other than that, what I'm stating is this. I notice something about when I'm abroad and then when I return to the States. And I like each time that I'm abroad and then I bring whatever element of me that's developed, grown, and realized back with me into the realized state when I'm returning to the States. I'll give you an example. So when I departed the U.S. in 2017, was it? 2016. When I departed the States in 2016, I was gone for a while. Then I left again in 2017, and then I was gone for almost a year. And I got a chance to explore South America's, Central and South America's, that entire span of a year, right? And I noticed something that when I came back to the States, when it came to social interactions, I had no problem or any qualms about just gazing into people's eyes. Now, I'm saying that because I've never had a problem looking people in their eye, but it was just a sternness with that, okay? Because it was like, I want them to understand that I'm serious and that, I have nothing to hide or whatever the nuances in America. We always look people dead in the eye and all that, okay? This was different. This was along the lines of I'm gazing into their energy with my eyes and I'm letting it linger and I'm letting it, and not in that way that they think I'm stupid or something, because you do have that, linger. You kind of know somebody might not be fit dealing with a full deck when they look at you like that. That's not what I'm talking about. It's an element of exchanging a softness of energy out of me into them and a goldenness of being able to extract out of them their true energy and intentions or vibes as I'm around them physically, is what I'm saying that eye energy exchange was about. Some would mistake it if they're not operating their right self as flirtatious stare. No, I'm not doing that. I'm looking at you because I'm really paying attention to your overall being. And so that's something that I was able to do a lot better and efficiently. I just said better, so efficiently is like duh. And then I was also able to be very direct in a way that wasn't off-putting, but also discerning and cutting through the small talk nonsense, because I'm not a small talk person really in real life anyway. But it would just be very direct, but without being hurt feelings and making people feel butthurt, okay? So, like, for instance, there was this lady who walked up to me. I think I had just been back in the States for like a week or so after I came back from Brazil. And she walked up to me, and I remember my aura was maybe different because people were starting to behave in a different way. Every time I go somewhere and return to a familiar place after I've been gone an extended amount of time, I notice people's vibe is different in terms of how they interact with me also. So in this particular situation, I was in San Francisco. I went to San Francisco right after I came back from Brazil, and this was in TJ Maxx of all places. She walked up to me and she was asking me some kind of question like, well, what size shoe do you wear? And it was like, it wasn't, okay, at that point in time, shopping was my therapy, okay? So one of those people, don't bother me when I'm shopping. Don't talk to me, don't look at me, just leave me alone. I'm in my own world, my own vibe, get my therapy, soothed, my shenandoahs, okay? And so she wasn't asking me the question because I was able to discern the energy of her voice, and while she was asking me that, it had nothing to do with a sincere, small talk, connective type of communication effort. It was just to be damn nosy. And so my response right away was, why are you asking me that? Like, I was like, just, yeah. So that's an element of me that developed a little bit more, because it was like I wasn't intentionally wanting to be confrontational, because that's really not in my makeup like that. However, at the same time, I was like, no, I don't even know you, and I can sense your vibe of wanting to be nosy. What do you want? Be honest about what you really want. What's your real aim of conversation? What you trying to get at? Get to the point. Cut to the chase. And it's like, over time, I stayed, I think, another year or two in the States. A year and a half in the States, and then that kind of mellowed out, fizzled out of me. I didn't get as, curt, and then I didn't really look at people in the eyes, because their face and their energy just started just fucking with me in a way. It's like, you know what? Your energy is so full of shit. I can't even tolerate looking at you. So, or listening to you, or looking at you. No. So I'm gonna hurry up, end this whatever, interaction, make it brief, and then go on about my way. Being outside of the States, it's a different vibe. It allows me to soften up on so many levels. And so when I do return to the States, it allows me to take what I've developed about myself, learned about myself, and explored and experienced with others abroad, bring it back to the States in a way, my better perfected self, if you will, my evolved self, if you will, and also conserve as much of my energy as possible from those who have not shown themselves worthy of that energy and or access to that energy. And at the same time, not feel burnout and not spent of my said acquired developments. That makes sense? So I'm using, part of the mechanism of travel is for me to better hone myself, because in reality, if you don't know this, as you travel, when you travel, and it's not just for leisure, you develop in ways in an accelerated span that you really might not have the opportunity and or chance to do if you're, say, where your stationary is, That's also speaking as a person that before I started traveling abroad, I lived literally all over coast to coast of the U.S. So there are different sides of me that I was able to develop that wouldn't have been able to happen or develop or be perfected, for that matter, if I stayed where I originated and always known the familiarity of it all. But again, it was more or less, I wasn't traveling just for leisure. I was traveling for many other reasons, and those things helped me develop overall. And especially when it comes to interacting business culturally, linguistically, and culturally, being culturally adept or at least receptive. Okay. All right. So that's all I wanted to share. Hope I didn't ramble too much or word salad, but whatever. Okay. So that's all I want to share. I hope that was some type of informational food for thought, and especially for us women, those who are born with a vagina. Okay. I'm going to leave it like that. Okay. And y'all stay delicious. Peace.